Hi, I'm Bill Kress with Kress Communications, and welcome to this conversation that I'm going to have with a dear old friend, Sherry Joe Matt. I always hesitate there because I know your husband is a bot. We'll get into the family thing in a little while, but I wanted to invite Sherry Joe because, well, first off, she's like a girlfriend of mine, if I can say that, but also, so we're gonna have as much fun as we can with a very serious subject. Um, and we're here in Miami, but Sherry Joe, say hello first. I don't want to consume our
Hi, I'm Sherry Joe Matt, founder of Stop the Judgment Project, and I am out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh, which is not
This is not
pictured
it.
here.
This is so not Pittsburgh.
Right.
Looks like there's sun out here, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like a unicorn in
And
Pittsburgh.
blue waters. You have a river in Pittsburgh. But anyhow, the reason why I thought it was important for you to speak to a Miami crowd is because your daughter died at the hands of fentanyl. I don't know if
Yes.
that's the way to put it. And this is a major, major issue across the country. And it has been for years. And it doesn't matter. There are no boundaries, unfortunately, for this. And the diseases that lead up to it, which are, of course, addiction and in many cases, mental health issues. So just backing up for a moment. Yeah, Sherry Joe, I really just admire what you've done since this tragedy first happened in September of 2020.
Correct.
And can you just fill us in on what happened here? By the way, did we say Stop the Judgment? Stop the Judgment is an organization, a nonprofit that Sherry Joe founded, along with your husband, Tommy, who was a college friend of mine. And that to me is an amazing thing, too, that you took what might have been rage, might have been anger, might have been just the horrors of losing a child, and then pivoted and put this energy into an amazing program. I'll pass it on to you.
All of those adjectives plus a whole thesaurus more. There's a lot of anger going on.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make a positive out of a negative. So our beautiful daughter, Sienna Bott, died of a fentanyl poisoning on September 14th, 2020. And I got really mad and really angry.
Mhm.
And as most parents do, when you get mad and anger, you make something good out of it, or you try to. So we started Stop the Judgment Project meaning it's going to go on for the rest of my life, and Stop the Judgment to stop the judgment behind the stigma and judgment of those that have substance use disorder and those that have mental health issues.
Yeah.
Sienna had both bipolar and borderline personality, and she self-medicated to take out the noise inside her head.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was a problem with her mental health issues that you identified early on, and
Yes.
that alone must have been difficult. And there's so much judgment around that. I've had mental health, and I have mental health issues in my family, and everybody just kind of hides it, and they
Yes.
don't see it as a disease. And I know there's been great progress made where people are addressing it as a disease. You got diabetes, you treat it. You have alcoholism, you can treat it.
Mhm.
And but there's still in so many cases with these diseases stigma around there, and what a shame.
It is a shame.
Yeah.
And we are here to try to make a difference, to point out to people that these are real diseases, much like heart disease, much like diabetes and cancer. You would never judge somebody with that. We have in the past. We've definitely judged people with cancer in the past, saying it was their fault. And we're doing it again with yet another disease states, two disease states, mental health and substance use. And we have to stop judging these people. These drugs are so powerful, and they are just trying to calm their mind. And by calming their minds, they go to drugs. And I'm not saying it's right at all, but it seems to be the natural progression of what they're doing. And these drugs are so powerful. They are killing and hijacking those that we love. And it has to stop. We can do better. We can do better as a society. We can do better as a country.
But it comes first with stopping the judgment by admitting there's a problem, by
Yes.
by allowing or giving the space for families to talk about it.
Yes.
And that is really quite something. I mean, you can't get to the root of the problem. I mean,
Until
people are
you're honest.
trying to, or but you certainly can do something
Yes. Well,
aftermath.
Sienna's issue started when she was 12 years old. She was sexually assaulted by 4 boys.
Mm.
And that was obviously a very traumatic experience for Sienna and for her family. And it was the beginning of hell, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Because as a parent and as a family, when you love someone with substance use and mental health, you isolate. So you're already isolating prior to losing your child to this horrific disease that could truly be prevented. And so Sienna, we tried. We got her into PAR, which is called Pittsburgh Action Against Rape, to get her help for that. We tried to get, she first started showing signs through a lot of alcohol use. And then, eventually the bipolar came out, and then the borderline personality came out, and the drugs came out. And we as a family hid that. We hid that from our friends, from our family. The absolute 2 worst phone calls I ever made was calling Sienna's brother, who knew she had problems. But I had to call him. He was playing junior hockey in Boston at the time. I had to call him to tell him his sister passed away.
Yeah.
Which was a shock. And then the next phone call I had to make was to my mother, who had absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
She never knew Sienna was sexually assaulted. She never knew that Sienna had mental health issues. She didn't know that Sienna was using drugs. So as a family, and I'm not alone on this, and I know it's not a unique story, but we hide from those we love the pain that our child's experiencing. And I am here to tell you it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has to be talked about.
And that's why you're here.
Yes.
That's why you're here. And you're one hell of a brave woman. You really are.
I never want another family feeling like this.
Yeah.
It's a very hollow feeling.
But as a family, you were aware of it. I watched one of the videos that you have on your website, and your husband Tommy said, as kind as she was to others, she was not kind to herself.
Sienna was such a delight, always such a delight. Even as a toddler, she was just a beautiful child inside and out, very kind, very caring, always had the biggest, brightest smile.
She was just a wonderful person, very kind, very giving.
Sienna did truly light up a room when she walked in it with her smile and her joy and zest for life. Even through the mental health and Sienna's substance use, she always maintained her kindness to others.
As kind as she was to others, she was not kind to herself.
It was hard. It definitely was hard. You could see the battle. You could see her struggling, but her wanting to get through that. My name's Dylan Bott. I am Sarah's brother.
I am Sherry Jomat. I am co-founder of Stop the Judgment Project.
My name is Tom Bott. My wife, myself, and my son started our foundation, Stop the Judgment Project, after our daughter Sienna died of a fentanyl overdose in September of 2020.
So you're trying to change people's mentalities so it doesn't become too late. That's what I'm assuming the project is about, in many other ways, but
Yes. We can't change anything until we talk about stuff. If we don't talk about it, we're as guilty as every family out there hiding it from their loved ones. And we have a voice. We have, for whatever reason, people are willing to listen to us. And as hard as it is every day.
it's because you never stop talking.
And that's true. We have been friends for a very long time. You can absolutely say that, and you know very well. But I refuse to give up on the people that are using, on the people that are dealing with mental health and their families that are standing right beside them. Nobody asked for this. Absolutely no one asked for this. When I was pregnant with Sienna, I never once thought, hey, I'm going to raise a kid that has mental health issues and has such erratic behavior that no one knows who she is or what she's doing. I never said that. I never ever once thought that when I was pregnant. Sienna never once in kindergarten raised her hand and said, hey, when I grow up, I don't want anyone to know who I am or what I'm doing because it's so erratic, nobody can wrap their head around it.
Yeah.
So we need to have more sympathy, more compassion, more empathy for these people that are dealing with these situations, because we did a campaign years ago as a country for cancer, the American Cancer Society did a campaign because we used to shun patients with cancer, and now we embrace them. If somebody says hey, I have cancer, the hugs, the love, the meal trains come out, the rides to chemo and radiation. I was on a Excel sheet taking my girlfriend to and from different hospital appointments for her cancer. I want that for mental health, and I want that for substance use. One day, I don't know if I'll live to see it, but I'm going to work for it.
Yeah. Well, part of the problem, as I see it, is I don't really understand the allure of fentanyl. But it's not, people aren't going out and buying a bag of fentanyl. That isn't the issue, is it? I mean, I hate to sound so naive. I know that probably literally hundreds of thousands of people across the country have, over the last dozen years or more, died of fentanyl overdoses. But where did it come from? And in your story, your case, I understand it was a Percocet addiction.
Sienna started out,
and it got mixed in, right?
Yes, she started out with a friend introduced her to Percocets, and they were street Percocets at the time. So right away, her first Percocet was a fentanyl Percocet. To my knowledge, her first Percocet was a fentanyl Percocet, and nobody's asked for fentanyl or xylazine, which is the elephant tranquilizer, to be in their drugs. They just want to hide the pain from themselves, and by doing the drugs, they feel that they can hide this pain and disguise it and get through their days, when in fact it makes it a whole lot worse than not doing it. But for them, they think they are. And then these drugs are so powerful that are coming in from other countries. I mean, we have Mexico, China, India, they're coming in from different places. And ironically, even though the landscape out there is that these drugs are coming through the wall and through the border, yes, they're coming through our border, but they are coming through legal points of entry by American citizens bringing them in.
Yeah.
It's a
feeding
fact.
an American citizen market.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pure greed. It is pure greed. 90% of the fentanyl that comes into our country is brought in by legal points of entry by American citizens.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely disgusting and appalling. Americans are killing Americans, but that's not what society is hearing.
Yeah, that's a whole other
story.
Area of
I'm happy to come back and talk about that, but for right now, we'll stay on topic.
But it gets in the hands of dealers who then use it to, I don't know, fortify or to cut costs, right? It's like a cutting.
It's a cutting agent. So these drugs are pressed like you would find something at Walgreens or your local drugstore. They look exactly like Percocet. They have the markings. The Perc 30s are a big thing. They're blue. They're scored. They look exactly like the pills that you would buy at a drugstore. Yeah. But they're streets and they're filled with fentanyl. And the thing is like people are like, oh, they're drug addicts. And it's like, do you know you can get fentanyl in your marijuana? Like the same table that they put the cocaine that has fentanyl in it, that they put the pressed pills that have fentanyl on it, is the same table that they're preparing. That they prepare them, they bag the marijuana and whatnot. Sale. So it's the same table that has all the fentanyl on it and the xylazine on it. And now because there's no quality control among drug dealers, so like that's never happening. But they don't care. They don't care. And you're never going to find a college marketing class on how to be a drug dealer because there's no company out there that could ever withstand the loss of clientele. Like if I went to Walgreens and got a fake Percocet and I died, I'm suing Walgreens. Yeah. You're not going to sue your drug dealer because they're going to hide and, they're going to be wherever the rock they're going to hide under. Yeah. But you're not going to sue them. But crazy enough, they have more people lined up to get their drugs. Yeah. It's a crazy dynamic, and it will never make sense to me.
And there's so much to cover here because there's going back to your program, your project. You have several initiatives going on right now, but I know folks are probably curious again about the Sienna story and the fact that the dealer that sold it to her was only recently
after
arrested.
4 years, he was recently arrested in Pittsburgh.
And that was a horror story.
That was a horror story. We kept that case alive. Our kudos to our detectives. They were absolutely amazing. And we worked with the county, we worked with our executives, we worked with the medical examiner's office. On a side note, we did change throughout this process, we did change how our medical examiner's office does things, and we'd love to take it nationwide.
Yeah.
But as of right now, Allegheny County, which is Pittsburgh, is the first and only county in the entire country that you can track your loved one's toxicology reports like you can an Amazon package.
Yeah.
And it's so cruel as a parent or the spouse or whatever of a loved one to go out to your mailbox and have an envelope with the medical examiner's office in it, knowing it's your 21-year-old's toxicology report.
Yeah.
And I fell on the ground crying, literally the grass ground by my house. And my neighbor's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm holding up the envelope, and she's like, "This is so cruel." And I'm like, "You're right."
Yeah.
So I made phone calls. We got it took 10 months, but we got the process changed. And now you can track your loved one's toxicology report. It takes 12 to 20 weeks to get a loved one's
I
toxicology
was
report.
going to say, that
back.
was the root of the problem.
That
You're
was the
sitting
root
there-
of the problem,
Now,
'cause I'm
you
like-
knew probably that she had died, I would assume.
I think as a parent,
But you don't know.
you assume.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't have that toxicology report, and that
You don't
in
have
itself
proof.
is cruel.
Yeah.
Why would it take that long?
And it's a cold case, and many times it's a cold case.
Yeah.
But for Sienna's friends that were able to go through her cell phone and her stuff, we got the information. We helped find the killer.
Yeah.
So Sienna's friends were incredibly pivotal in this whole situation, but not everybody is fortunate like that. These drugs are killing our kids, and we have no recourse. We have no action. A lot of times we don't even know where they got it or how they got it,
Right.
because once the police take your phone, Apple will not help you open a phone. Although there is a new, it's called the Legacy on your new iPhones, and you can designate a loved one to have access to your
yeah,
phone.
yeah.
So everybody should. If I do one thing from this podcast, please get a Legacy set on your iPhone
Yeah.
that somebody can open your phone after the
Yeah.
fact. But we were fortunate to get Sienna's phone open. I looked into getting it open in Israel, and there was a place in New Jersey, a place in LA. It was thousands of dollars
Yeah.
to get an iPhone open. I wanted Sienna's photos and her music.
But people won't know this until they go through a tragedy. I mean,
Correct.
that was simply amazing that you went to the legislative process and you got the county government to
Yes.
do this work around the toxicology reports. What other initiatives does your program have going on? You told me about an obituary program. Is it rolled out, or
No, it's
right in line with Stop the Judgment? I mean, there's so many branches to this.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with Stop the Judgment, and we're very, very proud of our work. So we are doing what we're calling an honest obituary, and we are encouraging parents that lose a child or a loved one that's lost somebody that's lost a loved one to mental health or substance use. We all know that when you do an obituary and it's literally 3 or 4 lines, like Sienna Bott, 21, unexpectedly died, funeral arrangements, there's nothing else in there. It's 2025. We automatically as a society go to overdose or suicide. It's one or the
Yeah.
other. Because if it was any other, if your kid had cancer or
They would say it.
yeah, car accident, you would say.
Yeah.
But because you're hiding it, a lot of times what you don't say says so much.
Yeah.
And so by not telling, it answers more questions. We're still here long after our kids are gone. I can walk through the grocery store. I can walk in public. People know my story. They don't come up to me and ask 1,000 questions. Although I did have one person, even though I was honest, talking about the shackles of mental health and the how did I write that? Shackles of mental health and the handcuffs of substance use for Sienna's and how she died. We had a very honest obituary, which is why I can sit here and talk about an honest obituary. You are still here after your loved one is gone, and you must be honest in these obituaries, because we can't change the conversation until we're honest, and we're not going to stop the judgment until we're honest and people realize that it's more than just a family or that family or, oh my God, that family. You know, it's like it crosses every line.
Yeah.
Racial, religion, economics, everyone is subjected to this possibility for somebody that you love.
But you're serving as a catalyst for change. This initiative,
Yes.
you're actually, because these obituaries are seriously expensive, and
Very.
not everybody can afford to tell the story. So this program, which is just like, holy crap. I mean, how do you think of these things? And
Yeah.
how you think of these things, and this is another branch of why you're so freaking amazing. You take these calls of other mothers and you're listening to their pain and what they're going through. You went through it. You're giving them tools individually, but you're also able to take these tools to a policy level.
Yes.
Or a program level. This honest obituary thing is so cool. You're
Yes.
funding.
So what we're doing with the stuff with the obituaries, I can't go up to a mother and say, "Oh my God, I know your child's using drugs. I know they've got mental health. When they pass, if they pass, you need to be at right now." So I can't do that. That is so cold.
Yeah.
But the way we can get to these parents, because the parents know, or they have a really, really strong suspicion that their child has passed from an overdose or from a suicide, they know, or they surmise, I should say.
Yeah,
So
right.
what we're trying to do is encourage people to write this honest obituary and come to us. We are looking for funding for these obituaries. They're $750 to write a basic obituary. I'm not talking one that you would write for somebody famous that would fill up with the Wall Street Journal. I am talking about just the average, ordinary citizen that loses a loved one. An obituary is about $750 to start with. So we are going, once we get all of our marketing materials together, we are going to look for funding, for grant money to pay for these honest obituaries. We're having people come to us. We will pay for their honest obituaries if they place it in, out in the media like you would any other obituary. And we need to bring honest news or honest what's the word?
Awareness.
Awareness
Yeah.
to these people that are struggling.
Yeah.
And how they passed, because we have to be honest about it. You say if somebody had cancer after a long battle of blah, 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 a very long, brave battle. Well, guess what? These people that are using drugs and these people that have substance use and mental health issues, they are also very brave.
Yeah. Yeah.
They fight every single day not to do this, every single day. But these drugs, it's like, what was it, Goodfellas? They pull you back in, or one of those movies. They pull you back in, and they have such a hold on our loved ones.
And they pulled Sienna back in, as I understand. She was
Yes, she was claimed.
she was on a path, and but it's it's a real pervasive problem there. You've got other initiatives, and I just want to say, you're saying we because you're a nonprofit organization.
Correct.
You have a very impressive board of directors. I know that's kind of like boring and dry to talk, but this is you've got a serious effort going on here.
Yes.
And
I'm very proud of our board members. We have an executive board, and then we have a junior board. And the junior board is taking on social issues for people their age, because they're all like mid-20s, and many of them knew Sienna. They came to us because they lost somebody in their life. One lost their sister, one lost their brother, one lost their cousin. They're working with us because they loved somebody that was lost to fentanyl poisoning or an overdose or suicide or whatever. They came to us. So we started a junior board to help these kids figure out how to best utilize their pain and their anger. And they don't know. They don't know how to process. I don't know how to process death. I've lost my daughter for 4 years. I still cry every day. I still miss her every single day.
No.
And I will fight every single day standing next to parents and like letting them know they are not alone. I literally take calls almost every day, but I start out, I am not qualified other than I've lived this.
Yeah.
I do not have any type of social work degree or therapy degree or anything like that, but I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it.
And so does your family. How is your son Dylan doing? He was the younger brother to
Yes.
Sienna.
Dylan and Sienna are 3 years apart. Like Sienna, Dylan's at Columbia right now in New York City. He's playing hockey for them, but he's just playing for fun. His competitive days, well, he's still very competitive, but Dylan, so I have the highs of the highs. I have Sienna that could have gone to any school she wanted to and got into some very, very elite schools. And then Dylan is at Columbia. He's studying psychology and economics and finance. And he's doing well. He's trying to process it. I think I think through our pain and through our charity, we're comforting each other. We're close as a family. We are trying to make an impact. We are trying our best to bring this. We're also doing educational programs. Dylan just is working on a program with the Columbia hockey team to do a program because he played junior hockey. So he is working with the hockey coach at Columbia. And he's doing really well. My husband's also doing well. I mean, well is relative when you've lost a child. Every day we wake up with a hole in our heart, but we fill it with love, we fill it with gratitude, and we fill it with knowing that we are doing the best we can to help others.
And you fill it with keeping busy.
Oh, I'm very
I know
busy,
you're
Billy.
busy as all hell. There's fundraisers that you're hosting. I see that you're doing speaking engagements. So why are you here in Pittsburgh? I mean, Miami. What brings you down here, and why are we at this table? I know you have another job. You have a job.
Yeah, I have a job.
Yeah.
I do medical seminars. So I was here for a lung cancer conference,
Okay.
and I left Fort Lauderdale to come see you.
Yeah.
And you asked me to do this podcast, and I absolutely said I'd make time for it. So thank you.
You're welcome, honey. I asked because I am one of the majority of the people that don't know
Yeah.
about this. I'm not saying that I have a crystal clear past, but this fentanyl thing just is befuddling to me.
Mhm.
And it's horrifying. And thank God, thank God. I don't know. I was going to say thank God there's organizations like yours.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of work, and you've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
You have some other initiatives going. Are you going to try to take this outside of? Oh, and you also did this Narcan.
Oh, we do Narcan training.
Narcan, thank you. See,
Yeah.
I don't know what that.
That's okay.
I should have done
That's
more.
okay. I'm here to educate.
Thank
I'm here to
you.
educate. We
Yeah.
also do educational seminars. PNC Bank
Yeah.
gave us our first $15,000
PNC is
grant.
based in Pittsburgh.
PNC is based in Pittsburgh. It's a bank,
Yeah.
and it was local, but now it's working its way to
It's
national.
around here.
Yeah, it's around this area.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it up,
Yeah.
because I know people will resonate with PNC. So PNC
Yeah.
gave us a grant for $15,000. We go into schools. We've gone into middle schools and high schools, and we're serving mostly underserved schools, which is part of the restrictions for the grant. Underserved schools, and we go in and we talk to them. We bring a guest speaker with us who is he's a director of a rehab facility, Geyser Rehab's facility, and he is amazing. He talks about whether using drugs is a choice, or whether it's your DNA. Do you have a choice whether you do drugs? And the
Right,
answer he tells the kids is it's both. I mean, we all, like we can pick up a pack of cigarettes and go, yeah, nope, not smoking, or not, or same with drugs.
Others
Like,
cannot. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm very proud of our work, So the grant is allowing us to go in these schools. It cost us $2,500 to go into these schools. Based on the grant, we bring in food for the kids. We bring in this guest speaker. We have printed materials. We have some swag items for the kids
Yeah.
to help with their mental health. So we are trying our hardest as
Yeah.
fast as we can. Obviously, I'm not going to be here forever, so I won't know the outcome. But I do want to touch on one thing real
Yeah,
quick.
please.
Jelly Roll, if you haven't seen it, please take the time to look at the video that Jelly Roll went before Congress. And we are losing over 100,000 people a year to fentanyl and to the overdoses. And Jelly Roll said it best, that if we had 100,000 people fall, and literally we just had 2 plane crashes,
Right.
but if that is equivalent to a 730, yeah,
1,000 people. Yeah.
100,000 people. So if we had 100,000 people falling out of the sky in planes, we would do something about it. We're going to do something about the 2 planes that fell out of the sky, and I'm so sorry for those families. But we would do something if that many people daily passed away. And in here, well, they would say annually, but
Yeah.
it's a full plane every single day that's falling out of the sky. And it's awful. It's absolutely awful. And I feel so bad talking about this after the 2 recent plane
Plane
but crashes.
You're making a point.
I'm making a point that
100,000 people, if they
Yeah.
all just fell in front of you, that's a problem. that
That's
needs
a
to be
problem.
addressed. Well, I also, with the few minutes remaining, I just wanted to say, what was the spark? What was the moment you said, I I have got to do something like this. And where did the Stop the Judgment, I mean, come from? What's the tagline with your organization?
Stop the judgment, start the conversation.
Start the conversation.
So actually,
what
so we got home.
a hit of lightning or
It was absolutely not a lightning hit. I knew when I put it in the obituary, I put "Stop the Judgment!" exclamation point, and we we put a website down that collected funds for nonprofits. And I knew as soon as I wrote that obituary, we were going to do something. My husband was not on board. He is an extremely private person, but I am so proud of him. And he gets out there, he speaks to these kids, because I do travel. I travel a lot, but he gets out there, he speaks to these kids, he goes in and he talks to these kids in different school settings. We are trying. I mean, we want to be part of the solution, not hiding in the shadows, because we've already done that. We've already judged our daughter. I know I hope somebody listens to this podcast and they realize that they too are judging their child, because I used to tell Sienna all the time, I'm like, Sienna, you have the means for anything you need. Your parents are educated. You live in this beautiful house. Like, we had all the trappings that society wishes to have, and it didn't save us from our daughter. It didn't save us, so it's like, you can't say that person on the street that's curled up in a ball that's, like
get a job
or whatever. And oh, they deserve that. You don't know who that person is, so please stop judging them. Walk up to them and see if they need help.
And this, I just saw the sunflowers. What's the meaning of sunflower? I mean, I know there's a meaning to them.
Yes.
How is this? How did this make its way into your
our logo
world?
So Sienna had a wonderful boyfriend that took her to a sunflower field. It was her favorite flower. And I have since learned that sunflowers stand together, and when it's cold, they face each other for warmth, and they stand strong and tall and face the sun. So I thought it was a very positive message. And after Sienna passed, my niece had her friend put wings on Sienna in the sunflower field, and then another friend that painted our logo. He's a former Steeler running back. He is an amazing human being. The Steeler has nothing to do with his warm, wonderful, amazing heart. But Sienna used to go play music with him and paint with him, and he's a family friend and a very, very dear family friend. And he painted that as a gift. He's an artist. He's an artist now. And anyways, he painted that after Sienna passed and said that he had a gift for us. And we later asked if we could use it as our logo, because it means so much for us to have it. It's absolutely beautiful.
Well, there's a lot of work to be done. And I thank you for sharing with me. I mean, we have a friendship. We've talked about aspects of this, but I don't want to bring it up all the time. Well, why wouldn't I?
Why not?
I know.
Because
I don't want it to be painful.
No, you know what? You know what's real painful for a parent that's lost a child is when people don't talk about their child. They don't say, hey, listen, I know you lost a child. Are you doing okay? Tell me something nice about Sienna. Tell me you miss her too.
Yeah, and I do. I really do. Don't get me going.
Yeah, I know. Don't cry with me, Billy. Only one of us can cry.
Beautiful. Yeah, we're gonna cry afterward.
Yeah.
She just was just a real force.
Yeah, she was beautiful, and she would do anything for anybody. She was gifted. She was talented. She was smart. Oh my God, was that girl smart? She was too smart for her own good, quite honestly.
Well, she comes from smart cookies.
Oh, well, thank you, Billy. Yeah. But yeah, she definitely got good DNA as far as. On paper, she looked amazing. Yeah. In photographs, she never, ever, ever took a bad photograph. She just had mental issues that she couldn't overcome. Yeah. And
as happens.
It happens far too often, and we really can and should and absolutely must do something better.
So how do people find you if they want to learn more about your project, or how they might be able to join in with your work or start their own branches at some point?
We would welcome to talk. I'd talk to anybody. I would, you know that more than anybody. Yeah. I'll talk to anyone. You can find us at stopthejudgmentproject.org. Yeah. We have a resource page on there. We have an area you can donate. We have merchandise. every single dime, every dime goes to helping others.
Yeah.
We have grants. We need grants for the Honest Obituary. We need grants for the school programs. We need funding. Oh,
Get your merch.
There it is. One of the other things that we're doing is we're working on an AI app, and the app will allow people to call and get guidance on where to get the best resources for their given situation,
Yeah.
wherever they're at, and only they know where they're at. And I don't have the qualifications to do that, but we have an amazing pain physician on our board that is spearheading the AI project.
Yeah. Well, you are an amazingly strong woman. I always knew that.
Thank you.
I had no idea how brave you are. And for coming here and sharing your story. Thank you. And sharing it with me
Yes.
and everyone who has a great opportunity to see what you have just told us.
Thank you for your interest in our
The
story.
work continues.
And your love and support all these years.
I know.
It's been over 30 years.
I know.
I know it's scary.
And we haven't changed a bit.
No, I haven't changed. I'm still.
Jared, I had this white hair in college.
I know. I was,
Well, I'm not going to.
yeah, don't get into me. I'm still the
We're
same.
not doing the hair dye show. I have no idea. I don't know. Yeah. All right, honey.
All right.
I'm
Thank
saying
you so
honey.
much.
I love you so much.
I love you.
Thank you for sharing. And everybody, thank you for joining us. I hope that this has been enlightening. I know it has for me. And again, thank you and the best of luck to you and Tommy and Dylan and all the people whose lives you're changing.
I hope. I'll never know, but all I can do every day is get up and try.
You know.